Right. That's
Yep, and we're live.
right. Hold on, I'm gonna send it to Cameron. Here we go.
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone.
All right. Give me.
Pinged it to me. You pinged it to me on Twitter.
Yes.
All right, let's get this out there. Oh, mate, this is all very fancy. Uh, duh, 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 duh.
All right. There we go. Okay. So should I send it or should I not
Yalla,
send it?
send it. As usual, send it.
All right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. This is me here, Ahmed, talking with Mr. F1 Techie, also known as Mr. Shovel, engineer. We have Cameron, aka Cameron F1 TV, one of the best podcasters you can hear or listen to whenever you have time. Please check out his YouTube channel. And then you have me, your fellow aviator, Ahmed, and a nonsense creator on F1 Twitter. So tonight
Yeah.
we're having a fiery one. There's a lot of news. We don't know where to start, where to begin. So we're gonna go straight into the fire. And number
Yep.
one, first of all, how are you guys doing?
Bro, I'm all
Well,
right.
I
I'm
don't
all
know.
right. I'm all right. But you know what, Ahmed? Not to descend this into instant WWE chaos, but it doesn't matter how I'm doing. To quote the infamous Rock, you gotta get that in, Ahmed.
No, right? It's good you got it out of your chest. If you have one more, go ahead. But so yeah, there's a lot of things going on in F1. You don't even know where to start, where to begin. And we thought we are probably in for a boring season. And in terms of racing, a little bit, not really. There are some exciting things happening in the racing itself. Don't get me wrong, so people don't come keyboard warring on us. But off the track, my goodness, it started with freaking Lewis moving the needle to Ferrari, and from there the dominoes started. We have, without mentioning any names, we have the WhatsApp files, and then WhatsApp files followed by a bunch of news here and there, lawsuits here and there, and then we jump to one of the best, or not the best, if not the best, aerodynamic designer and car designer in Formula One motorsport, Adrian Newey, announcing his departure from Red Bull. Something we've
Yep.
all talked about what it would be without Red Bull, without Adrian, and we got that now, but not with the taste that we expected it would be. We were expecting the news to be announced during the Miami Grand Prix, but for some reason, Red Bull said, nah, fuck it. Let's just send the news now and get it over with. And yeah, I'm going to start with you, uh, Cameron. Go ahead. What's your thoughts on this?
Bro, I think the most pertinent thing about this is the timing, like you've just alluded to, Ahmed. Like flipping Nora. I was about to have maximum respect for Red Bull for not talking about this for another 24, 48 hours in lieu of respect for Ayrton's the 30-year anniversary of Ayrton Senna's passing. And then all of a sudden, Red Bull, typical Red Bull, never fail to seize moral defeat from the jaws of moral victory yet again. So that's probably the naivety on me. But you know what, bruv? I think this is the much needed injection that F1 has been waiting for, right? The new cycle off track has been everything that we needed or hoped for from the on track automotive pugilism, right? And I think this is what F1 needs around Newey and Horner and Lewis. And because, I mean, imagine, but for that, nobody would be watching F1 anymore, if anybody still is, eh? You know?
F1 Techie, take it away.
Yeah. Actually, man, I don't know what to think because it was long waited. Do you remember last year? Probably we were the first people who talked about this, what is coming. And a lot of people back then, like you called them the keyboard warriors. they attacked us. And since the beginning of this year, also I opened this topic on Twitter, and today I put a tweet that a lot of people want to crucify me and burn me alive. So yeah, that's what happened, because we saw it. It's going downhill. It was going downhill all over the place, and we reached there. And this year, the beginning of the year, it was fiery, starting with a lot of changes in Formula One and the seats, Lewis Hamilton, as you said, and all these topics. So it was one heck of a season, which is like we are only 4 races in it, and it's just the beginning.
I mean,
also, I have big news that probably we're gonna talk about it right when we delve into the Adrian Newey, okay, news. Probably, I'm not gonna say anything right now. Let's kick it in.
it's better you don't say anything, because people will
Yeah.
crucify you. Because sometimes, listen, mostly we have our daily life and we do things in our daily life, and on the F1 space we are creators, and sometimes people should understand some creators, not all the creators, I mean, in talking about F1 creators, do come across proper, I wouldn't say sources, but that doesn't make them a legit source. You get the news, you get the heads up, you get to know like, oh, this is gonna happen. Oh, really? And it happened with me many times. Like, people told me, oh yeah, this is gonna happen, and now I just keep my mouth shut, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have a lot of people coming. What's your source? You're not even a journalist. How can you even claim yourself to be a journalist? So why would I even dive into that headache? Just keep it to myself, and when it happens, I'm gonna be yapping about it, and life goes on. And yeah, I mean, I know in general a lot of people were talking about Adrian, and some of the articles, it just put a sour taste in my mouth. Like, and of course, I know not all the Red Bull employees thinks that way, and most definitely they don't. It's just like, oh, but he wasn't involved in most of the designs, and I was like, what if he's not? Like, if he's not involved in most of the designs, like, then why you still have him? Then just deal with why you paying this man over 20 million, or I think $15 million or euros a year. If he's not involved, he's just like that one guy who shows up to the project and take the credits for it, But we know that's not Adrian. We know that's not the Red Bull employees and what they think. Whoever wrote that article should have a little bit of reality check, or just put the salt on the wound if he's that salty. The other thing is, now everyone's like, right, he's out. Where is he gonna go? We've seen Toto's latest comments, like, he's just a fan watching this from the distance, like having a panoramic view. A lot of people mentioned Aston Martin, and I had knowledge about this like 4 weeks ago or more, that Aston Martin, they're gonna go in full send on trying to sign Adrian Newey. And I'm like, but why would he want to leave Red Bull? Like, you just give me. I was like, the only logical thing could make sense that they would try to go for him is that Honda is going to Aston Martin in 2026. But I was like, the Red Bull is so successful. They have Max Verstappen, and how long Alonso has left in the tank. So why would he leave even Red Bull? And boom, here we are today talking about him reading. Yeah. So I know from the looks of things, there is a Ferrari Mastercross, we would call it, that we could see in 2026 or 2025, mostly 26. But even then, we don't even know anything. What if this man even shows up on Miami and be like, right, guys, yep, I'm leaving Red Bull, but I'm retiring?
Oof. Bloody Nora. Where do you want to start with that, Ahmed?
It's a fair question.
We're going to spend the next 30 minutes.
You're burning it.
Yeah, we're going to spend the next 30 minutes on picking that. So listen, as far as right, let me talk to the sources first. The internet is a very wild place as of April 2024 as far as F1 news cycle, right? There are various different layers. You've got your God tier journos, your Andrew Bensons, your Windsors, I'm trying to think of another one. Your Mark Hughes is right, and now they'll do the journalistic integrity thing, as well as checking that all of their things are ironclad, making sure they've got two sources, etc. And then you've got the journos below there who are still journos, but just not quite god tier. And then you've got your internet journos, and I don't say that disparagingly, but there are
Yeah.
people who are. I don't know if I'd put us into that category, Ahmed, but there are people who just who
We will be there.
potentially. I'm skirting very.
Yeah, I get.
I'm nearly there. Maybe I'll get there one day. And then you've got aggregators, and I think that's 90% of what I'm doing, and kind of trying to put together dots and tell a story almost rather than have news report. But I'm not a journo, right? So I'm not. There is no code of conduct or professional level that you of accountability that you need to hold me to. So the Adrian Newey story, and again, it's techie. This Aston Martin isn't going to happen because I'm hearing that. Look at me, I'm reporting the news that exactly I said I wasn't going to now, and now I've just gone into it. So
Go for it.
here's what I'm hearing. Aston Martin isn't going to happen. Lawrence Stroll offered him 25 million a year for 4 years. Not going to happen because I don't think he fancies being leveraged as a tool with which to boost Aston's marketing value. That's what I think he sees Lawrence
Okay.
Stroll as using him for. Ferrari, I think, is one of the. It's either Ferrari or retirement at this point. The reason why I think it will potentially be Ferrari is because Adrian met with Fred Vasseur in London this week. He was spotted at Bologna a couple of weeks ago. Now people said he was over there testing at Mugello only. I don't know. The last time Adrian had
Le-
talks with Ferrari, he was also seen at Bologna as per his book. So maybe that's just coincidence.
Yeah, and also last time somebody said, "Oh, Daniel's just there to attend the wedding in Italy. He's not
Like
even interested to go back and
e-
racing." And guess what happened? Boom.
exactly. So sometimes you gotta do the common sense thing and connect the dots yourself, eh? And then the final thing I was saying, if the two most likely outcomes are Adrian Newey retiring and sailing the world for 36 months, as could be an option because he's about to take delivery of some big bloody sail around the world yacht, isn't he? And Ferrari. If those are the two most likely outcomes, then why would you make sure? Why would you do all this legal wrangling to make sure you can exit your contract early and work with another team? That's my only non-rhetorical question there, which makes me think that Ferrari's potentially the most likely outcome of the two.
F1 Techie, your
Yeah,
thoughts?
actually, I'm gonna say a little bit some news right now, but before that, you're right, guys. If we're gonna connect the dots, probably we're gonna say the best choice is Ferrari. I said previously that why not if we can link what happened with Verstappen previously and Red Bull and Mercedes between Verstappen. Verstappen was in the middle, so why not they're gonna be joined together in Mercedes? That's a wild thought. Okay, that was my wild thought, and we can dream. Everyone has the right to dream. You can have like Max Verstappen and Aston Martin probably with Adrian Newey, so whatever. But the latest news that I have received, which is drum rolls, the emails that has been sent to the Red Bull staff today, it was Adrian Newey is leaving Red Bull and out of the sport.
Oof, oof, techie. Holy smokes. That's great. Can we play the breaking
That's
news
what
music,
we
Ahmed?
received. Okay, that's what we received. Probably
Okay.
it can be like just a rumor, but it is from inside, okay, of Red Bull team, and
Wow.
we're gonna wait. We
Holy
just
smoke.
have to wait. Shu
Okay.
Jeez.
Ahmed,
I don't know
what do
what
you
to
say?
say to that. I have no idea. Like that's a massive mic drop there.
Yeah,
Why would he
For
lie?
me, I mean,
it is
listen.
strange, right? It's strange. Yani, why are you trying to go with the legal thing and finish your or end your contract early Why? Is that bad inside the team? Because since last year, we know that there are a lot of problems and trouble inside the team itself. So, did he
Okay.
fed up? Is he fed up with that? I don't know.
Okay. So here's the thing. And I do not want to go mentioning people around, which is not the right thing. Certain someone who's very, very close to Adrian, we've seen them active on social media defending their family. And I'm going full hands, like throwing hands literally. You know what I'm talking about. And in a way, in a sense, they have the right to do that. Hey, when you post something on social media, expect everything. Don't post something on social media, then be like, oh no, why people are crying, why complaining. If people complain, they complain. If they don't complain, good. And when people come to defend themselves, don't be mad about it either. So and when I saw that, and I was like, it's a little bit interesting to see that happening because I am sure that Boat's sitting in the sofa while he's working on his drawing board in the garage, and he's like, it's okay, leave it alone, or be like, you know what, send it, do whatever you want. I don't care. When you are somebody at that magnitude who have achieved everything and you've built a supercar, you've won titles with three different teams, and you came to a team that ever was a laughing stock at the start, which is Red Bull, and you build it to this team, and you created two monsters in F1. One was Sebastian Vettel. Second monster is much tougher than the first one, more OP, Max Verstappen. You have every right to look at your shoulder and be like, I did this. What you gonna do about it? However, I know a lot of people think, yeah, he's leaving today. Next season, they are crumbling into the bits and they're in a smithereen, and that's not the part where they're gonna crumble. Not on the technical and building cars. Maybe internally, that's a whole different conversation. But if we look into it, we've seen so many great names leave some F1 teams and go to another, or just basically retire. But it took few years to see the effect of that wearing on teams. And if I bring an example with Mercedes, the late Niki Lauda, he's not an engineer. He doesn't design cars. But the day when that man left us, it's like Mercedes was slowly on a glide slope descending. It's like an airplane when it loses both engines. It doesn't just go boom. It starts gliding
Yeah.
down. So that was Mercedes, and the glide, we did not know where that glide is going to end. And it ended basically, I would say, by 4 months ago. That was the end of it. Boom. That's it. It hit. And so there are certain names when you lose them around the teams, you don't see the effects at the beginning. Of course, it's good for Red Bull to show trust and build trust around the guys who are going to hold the keys to the ship. That's a good thing. But are they going to be doing the same job or better? And they're going to show up as the next big thing, or they're just going to flop? So these are all questions we leave it to the future. And there's one thing that I really want to talk about, and that is the freaking drivers market.
Ahmed, quickly, bro, quickly, before you move on.
Go ahead.
I was researching this Newey thing just before this stream, and I hear what you're saying as far as I've been talking about this for ages now, that I feel like the team have trivialized Adrian Newey's contribution to the latest 3 iterations of that Red Bull car. But I dug this article out on the Telegraph, and Adrian Newey himself was saying something in this article. I'll read it out to you. He talks about, I'm supposed to be a bit of a maverick. It's difficult as far as his percentage of time at Red Bull that he spends on the car. He says it's difficult to say exactly, but I would say roughly 50%. That's bonkers. I suppose I'm a bit of a maverick in as much as I've managed to get, this is the key bit, Ahmed and Techie, listen to this. Adrian Newey's words, not mine. I've managed to get to a situation now where it, aka the engineering team, can operate procedurally without me, which allows me to be a bit spoilt enough to be able to get involved in any area that I feel like. Surely then, Ahmed and Techie, Pierre Vacher and Christian Horner are just regurgitating that sentiment now. Or maybe it's me being crazy here. I don't know.
You honestly, the man said it himself.
Yeah.
And the one thing for the Hopium train, before I give it to you, Techie, I know there's a lot of Hopium now in the air. And I think you want your Hopium to go to galactic level. I'll tell you when you're going to have the Hopium. When Max's leave.
Oh,
If Max drops the bombshell this season. Hold on. So we are from normal takes to, give me a second. So when Max decides to say, hey, I'm out of this team, I don't want any part of it anymore, it's been a nice run, thank you very much, then you can have your Hopium up. And you know who I have as a candidate to replace him? There is one man who's been no. So let me cook here. So there's one man who has 2 seats available. I think I've tweeted this already. He has 2 seats available. One at Audi, and he could pick the phone and give a call and be like, hey, Mercedes, do you want me in that seat? And that's Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
You're jobless. Why wouldn't you jump on any of those 2 seats already? Unless you're stalled in to see what's Max's decision, and then you're going to go for that seat. So if Max decides to say, I'm out, then we are in for a crazy 2025. It's an open lobby championship, in my opinion. It's going to be between 3 teams at least. And I'm not trying to disrespect Carlos or Perez, but I don't think they have the level of consistency of Max.
no, that's
deep.
Yeah, well, not that deep. Ahmed's dropped it like it's a gem, but you're not really saying anything there. We can't compare Max to Carlos. Is that I love Carlos. I think he's incredible.
I love Carlos too, but I'm just trying to be respectful.
Yeah, there are levels to this game, Ahmed, and we know that. But we shouldn't. It's blasphemy to mention Carlos Sainz Jr.'s name in the same sentence as Max Verstappen's. We all know that. I don't think. I'm questioning whether. I think it might be a mistake for Carlos Sainz to go to Mercedes. I think so cerebral is this dude at this chap. He'll be acutely aware more than anyone of the iniquities of Mercedes as at April 2024. And he knows that this is he's turning 30, he's like 30, 31 soon, right? He knows that this decision at this critical stage of his career, there can be no more missteps for him. He's done his time in a donkey of a McLaren and Toro Rosso back in the day. That's yesteryear now. Moving on for Carlos, he can't afford to be in a W15 snap understeer to snap oversteer. Have you seen Lewis Hamilton in that car, Ahmed? Like, he feels like he doesn't even want to go in there. It feels like he's risking his life quite literally each and every single time. So if you're Carlos Sainz Senior, Carlos Sainz Junior, even, why are you going to go in?
I don't want that.
I'm not going in that car, even to waste 12 months of my career. No, I will hold out. Fingers crossed, touch wood. Let's hope Max Verstappen vacates and then I can jump in a car capable of winning a championship. Mercedes, Petronas, AMG. What for? You must be having a joke, not me. Wait, why?
Spill the beans.
Why? Adrian Newey said that he can't even fix that car himself. The goatiest aero mind ever in the history of it.
He did say that, actually. He said they would take at least... The man said it would take 3 seasons to get around it. So when Adrian Newey says that, all you have to do is pray for James Allison. So that's all.
Ahmed, why am I? Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible? No, thanks. Leave that alone, mate. Let Allison fix that.
I don't want that.
F1
but
techie.
but talking
I'm
about
gonna
Carlos Sainz,
go ahead.
we can't disagree that he is able to fill up any cities in. Actually, okay, we're not gonna compare him with probably Max Verstappen, but we can rely on him to get to do great races and get the points that are needed. Okay, and I'm gonna go back a little bit about what Cameron said about Adrian Newey when he quoted Adrian Newey. Okay, I'm not surprised. Just like he created these beasts throughout the years, probably he has created also like engineer beasts throughout his careers. Okay, his career. So during the different phases, starting with going to McLaren to Williams. So we can say that also everyone can learn from him. This is actually F1, Formula One, and motorsports in general, because this mix up that we have, the ideas, the knowledge, the genius that everyone is creating, it is gonna be transferred from one team to another. That's how we evolve actually, and the designs and every any aspect of this motorsport. And okay, so Adrian Newey, he is a genius in Formula One. He is an airbender, if we can say. But
Oh,
we can
love that.
remember, yeah, we can't deny that sometimes he flunked, right?
Yeah, but F1 is a numbers game, right, Techie?
Yeah, it's not only on one person or an engine, or it is a combination.
But I was going to take that a different way, Techie. Yeah. If you're talking about wins and losses ratio, as far as Adrian Newey, he wins a lot more than he loses, right? There's a stat that he quotes in the book that's between 19, I want to say between 93 and 2013. There were only like 4 years where there's not a Ross Brawn or Adrian Newey car that didn't take both championships. And those are the in between, right? Alonso 05, 06, and then Kimi in 07, and then Lewis in 08. Yeah. But then even the Lewis car, you can argue, had some links. Mate, those two are dominant. They lose. Adrian Newey loses a lot less than he wins. And again, it's a probability. Everybody makes mistakes, right? The MP4 18 that he made that wasn't even safe enough to go on track or whatever. But if you were a betting man, gun to the head, if you're going to put, this is what I said back in 2021.
On Newey.
Techie, if I'm a driver, and I need to put myself in a car and my life on the line, if I need to win a race, you put me in the Adrian Newey car every single bloody time. I don't care if it's 2022 or 2026. I don't care. People want to talk about Allison's the winning. I don't care, man. Look what Allison's been. What have you done for me lately, James Allison? God tier also. But please, man, let's not do this.
He was designing boats.
You know what I mean?
To be honest,
go on, okay. Give it to me.
Not to you. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because if anybody have to blame on this, it is the top man, Mike. Toto. Because I'll tell you why. Because when you're moving into new regs and you have all teams hands on deck with their best engineers, their top engineers, their top designers, all on one ship designing for the new regulation. And what do? You send your best engineer to design aerodynamical boats.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I'm not undermining Mike Elliott's work. He's an amazing engineer. He went bold with his design and he wanted to prove that it can work. The funny thing is, Adrian said it can work, but I'm not telling you guys how it works. And he found a way how to make the narrow inlets work, and he did it now with the RB. Hold on,
20.
Now
20.
is RB20. Sorry, yeah, he did it with the RB20. It's not technically a zero side pouch, but if you see how narrow those inlets are, it's almost as if that car doesn't even have inlets in it. So he found a way to be inspired through those designs. When you see the engine cover above the RB20, it's like the W14. So it shows you that even the top guy can be inspired from a guy who's getting basically slandered left and right because the car's not working for the drivers. So, and then you bring your top guy to put him on a challenge in 2024. I was expecting this to happen. And I remember I was tweeting this and I was like, I think I'm manifesting this on myself, but I don't mind. I was like, I don't care if W15 gets lapped twice. I like how it looks because it just looks beautiful. But it's
Ahmed.
just the
Yeah,
but it's
you
just
said it at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I remember.
yeah, I wrote that and down I look at it and I'm like, are we really down for the trenches
Bro.
watching George and Lewis fighting for the Q3 entry? It's like I was
Ahmed,
like, okay,
By
this
the
is not
way,
fun, but yeah.
Ahmed, you've said some things there, bro, that I need to hold you account to. Firstly, as far as mistakes, listen, I've reconciled myself with some of the design philosophy mistakes that Mercedes have made. The 2022 car, whatever, people make mistakes, designers make mistakes, Newey has
for
made
sure.
mistakes. The big mistake, though, for me, two big errors that I feel are unforgivable. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? Don't diversify your attention portfolio in 2021 and focus on 2022 when you have a killer in Max Verstappen, in a killer of a Red Bull car and a championship in your hand. I know there's new rules and regulations, but the championship's there, chaps. Continue to develop this car in this year, right? Because it's a tight battle and championships have been won and will again be won on tenths and fine margins, Abu Dhabi, whatever, but it was always going to be a close championship. So extract the maximum out of what we're dealing with in real time. And then secondly, an absolute cardinal sin, 2022 mistake, cool, but fail fast each and every single time, chaps. This is like managerial, strategic decision making 101. You've squeezed all of the juice out of that W13 design philosophy. How are we rocking up in 2023 again with this same SH1T design philosophy that everyone in the world knows you can't get to work? One of 365 days a year, when it's a full moon around Interlagos, you can get it to work, and then all of a sudden it's a world beater. But what about the other 21 tracks that we race on? Like the other 364 days a year, you couldn't access the uppermost peaks of that performance curve because it was too peaky. It was too difficult. How dare they rock up into 2023 with that same stupid zero pod having SH1T box, lads? Nah, I've had
They
enough.
tried, actually. They tried.
Nah, you
Cameron.
can't. You can't. It's techie. It's too much, man. I can't get me riled off around
We
the
have,
arm. Did you what
guys,
he's doing?
we have Thanos in the chat with us, so he sent us this one. Okay, so it was either he's talking about James, why he went to designing Ineos boats. So he said it was either let James do that or see him retire, which is what he wanted to do. So what do you think? It was James.
It's a fair cop. You can't be
Yeah.
you can't be dictatorial with these key personnel, right? If you've got to bend over backwards to keep the intellectual property that is a James Allison, then you make a decision and you let him go. And plus, he's had a difficult time of it, right? Like, did he miss his pass or something? So, like, if my memory serves, I don't know if his wife passed away or something happened in his personal life that meant that he wanted to go away and do all these other things. And you've got to humor that and engage him because he's such a key man. But I don't hate
it was
the
a critical.
thing.
It's a critical time. It was a critical time, especially when we have like a change in the design, in the Formula 1, in the philosophy, in the generation of Formula 1. So you chose that time to go and to focus on something else. That's strange. We're coming to the same thing in 2026. Okay, we're gonna see a big shuffle in 2026 designs and teams. Last time I was joking with my friend Ahmad, knows him, and I told him probably we're gonna see Heiss in the lead. So probably Hulkenberg is gonna be a world champion, and now
Oh
Hulkenberg
my
he went
gosh,
to,
where
to,
are we
to
going
Audi.
with
That
this,
was
Techie? Oh, the
we don't
humanity.
know actually. We can
Am
have
I in
like
the
a brown
twilight zone?
GP.
What are we talking?
Yeah, we can have a brown GP too, for example. I don't know. So a 5 second
Mate,
team would be able to find a
I don't.
five second.
But Techie, go back to what Thanos has said though. If you have a
Yeah,
key man in your ranks and you need to humor them, you want to keep
yeah.
them engaged and on board, and they want to go and do X, Y, and Z, then you kind of you've got to play this smart, right? You can't tell him no, because then he'll just leave and go to Ferrari, and that downside is more material than having him go across the Ineos. At least then you get to keep him and his knowledge in house for whenever he's ready to come back off of the Ineos America's Cup project. You've still got James Allison, right? I think you've got to humor him. I get that point. I take it. It's not ideal. You'd rather that he stayed, and do you know what I mean? But like limit your downside, I think is the term that I'm looking for.
I mean, we spoke about 2026 and possibly we could get another Braun GP. We have, like, as I said, like flipping hell, like the last 2 weeks is just bunch of news. We have Gunther suing Haas.
Yeah.
You have Andretti calling the ops on Formula One Liberty Media. He called the Congress.
The Congress now is in the game. The Congress.
Man told F1, "Oh, you're gonna rely on Liberty Media. Let me call the Freedom guys. Hey, Congress, they have oil in the paddock. Go after them."
Oh
It's
my God.
It's like, oh, to be honest with you, the only time I've seen the congressman being active from the things that are happening involved F1 all of a sudden. But we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stay in topic. I'm sorry, but to have the man with $1 billion factory facility, he has the wind tunnel. He has the funds. GM and Cadillac are backing him to be in F1. He has everything.
The knowledge,
to be
the name, the legacy.
The name itself. And if you really want an American team, with all due respect to Haas, if you want an American team to really bring it, a man like Andretti, with the number of people he knows behind just the back of his hand, without even going on the list and everything, the people he can bring to be involved in the project, it's mental. You could literally have real American team with real American F1 team fans. Because why? Ever since F1 went back to US, people all caught bits and pieces here and there supporting this driver, that guy, this guy, that guy. Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari, a little bit of Red Bull and Max as well. Like, not a little bit, like there's a huge number of them, but you don't see any of them go, woo, go Haas, like there are few people who like, oh, go Haas because I'm a patriot, but just few number of them. But everyone is not like, oh, I really hoping Haas to do that, except one intern. I love you, man. As it's like it's just the number is small. I think with Andretti entering, we could see a whole different numbers. But again, that doesn't guarantee he could probably be a good team. But just the facilities and how much he spent on it is very hard to see him fail. And it's very hard to see him not being competitive in the midfield and a danger to the midfield in the long run. Take Aston Martin as an example. It was just like I'm not saying Aston Martin is a championship competitive team, but they could be. Like their claws are not far enough from the direction they're heading. It's just look at the example of Aston Martin when they were racing Poland and then they became Aston Martin. Look at them in 2022 and everyone was like, what is this garbage? And then in 2023 they rock up in the podiums.
Yeah, no.
So yeah.
You gotta plant some acorns, right, to grow a big tree sometimes. Not everything starts off being you know what I mean? You can't just They won 2005 Red Bull, aren't 2023 Red Bull. I'll say two things to you though, chaps, because this is quite important. Let's not talk about F1 like we're all brand new to this space. None of us here are F1 virgins. We know what F1 is as an entity and as a sports franchise, and it has always been and always will be an elitist circle the wagon type enterprise. They don't care for North America engagement. They're not looking to engage that fan base meaningfully. They want to privatize the profits and socialize the losses. Give me all your money. What's this about participate? No, just bring all your money and give it, plant it in Liberty Media's coffers and go away, and we'll see you next year. It's not this. I don't know why we're pretending like F1 in 2024 because of Drive to Survive has all of a sudden become this collective race as one community. That's lip service. The substantive isn't, it's never matched up to what they're purporting it to be as a sports fan. It never has been, chaps. I remember, listen, this is the big thing about Lewis Hamilton. I've been watching since 1990 something without revealing my age. And I remember Lewis Hamilton coming along in GP2. And I was out here like Tupac was talking about, it might seem heaven sent, but we aren't ready to see a black president. That's how I felt about Lewis Hamilton. It was never going to happen. This wasn't the F1 that I knew. And so I just think in 2024, I don't want to be naive. Andretti would be beautiful. It would be absolutely brilliant. But if I know F1, don't think the resistance is going to end all of a sudden, just because some fans on Twitter kick up a stink. This is F1, chaps, and it's an exclusive boys club. It always has been, and it always will be, notwithstanding the part-time masquerade when they want to trot out We Race as one and come all North America, give us all your money. But participation ends where we say it ends. And I think that's always been F1. Sadly, I think it always will be, chaps.
But I don't know about that. But probably I'm not into economy and all of this. But whenever you have you're into the US stock market, some rules and regulations would apply on you. So probably just like what happened to Apple in Europe and US, probably they will enforce something on F1. I don't know. I need someone here in the chat if they can, because I've read it.
Say that again, Techie. I missed the pit. Probably they were what? Sorry.
I'm saying because you are in the stock market, in the US stock market, so some rules and regulations will be applied on you. Okay, you have to follow some kind of you should allow the competition and blah 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 blah, all of these. So I need someone into these.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. But
in our comments over here, probably they can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, 100%. Techie, you're right. Any company that's listed, whether that's in the US or UK, are beholden to a set of rules and regulations, right? The MotoGP thing is interesting. That applies to that because the acquisition of Moto, or the company the parent company of MotoGP, back in the day, the company, was it CVC, Ahmed? The company that owned the commercial rights to F1 tried to do the same thing, and the anti-competition commission were like, you can't own F1 and MotoGP. But as far as what we're talking about here, techies, the way that the extent to which the way that F1 engages fans is meaningful and genuine. Because to genuinely engage North American fans is to welcome Andretti Global, right? But what I'm calling out F1 for doing is not being genuine about the way in which it engages North American market, because it's doing one of the, Bryson at Natural Paradigm said it best the last time I spoke to him. It's one of these where, listen, we want your money. That's cool. Bring all of that ad infinitum. Come one, come all. But then what part? Money and monetization, perfect. Genuine participation and meaningful engagement. Arm's length, chaps. Keep that over there. That's what they're doing. That's what they always have done, Techie. Lest we forget.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring an example off topic, but I'm just going to keep it within, within the shadows, and you can pick what I'm trying to get at. It's more like you're welcome to invest in our territory, our football clubs, but don't go do that wherever you are. It's basically where it's, and this has not been going just in F1, in many sports. We don't have to get into the football. It's happening in football as well now. And so it's just a matter of interest. And when you have all the team principles, I get their points, and I understand that if Andretti jumps in, they're gonna be in a little bit of a problem, and it's gonna be like, okay, he's gonna come in, and we're gonna have to split the share of the pie from 10 pieces to 11. Now we're gonna lose more money. Now what do we do with the investors who probably would be like, right, listen, that sponsorship money, that 80, we're gonna cut it down to about 70 because there's so many teams now. You guys are almost gonna become IndyCar, just one more team, and you guys that. I'm not comparing F1 to Indy. We're not gonna compare a spec series to a series where you compete about designing something better. Also, yeah, we don't have to go over an hour. We wanted to do this at 30 minutes, but we took this to 45 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna make quick last points for everyone. So yeah, it's just about who has the money and who doesn't. Andretti has the money, but he has to go toe to toe with some big guys, and we know who the other team principals put as the face of the gun to deal with this noise. Toto, they're like, right, listen, we really don't want to go face forward with this guy, so you do the talking.
Oof.
It looks like you want the smoke. And Andretti told them, oh yeah, you want to bring the smoke, right? I'm gonna bring the fire. Congress, jump in. So the fact that this man had to go all the way to the Congress, it just tells you how much he really wants to be into F1. And maybe others sees that the level of investment he's gonna bring could a little bit hurt them, and they're them knowing also Audi coming in, they're not gonna come in light, they're gonna come in heavy, and they're not looking to just be like, yeah, we're here to participate. No, they're gonna be looking into, hey, we're looking to actually be a threat in a few seasons or so. So any final points for you, F1 techie, or if you have anything to add, go ahead.
Well, actually, let's wait. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. We've talked about a lot of things, especially the hot topic right now, which is Adrian Newey, and we're going to wait and see. We can't know what's going to happen, where he's going. Where is he going? And will, if. So... So thank you, Cameron, for today. I know you have to run right now. Ahmed, thank you.
Go ahead, Cameron. Any final point?
Don't be daft, chaps. It's been a privilege, genuinely, and we've managed to speak for 47 minutes and 50 seconds without one mention of the Miami Grand Prix. So I'll break that very quickly. For 10, 15 seconds. The Miami Grand Prix brings back PTSD for me, because that was the moment when Checo Perez had his dreams fractured and dashed on the floor, because there's no way, fella, there is no way that you can put that on pole. Max Verstappen qualify half the way down the bloody grid, no safety car of a race, and Max Verstappen still ends up gapping the Mexican Ministry of Defense to the tune of seconds. That's bonkers, and that's demoralizing if you want Checo Perez. Exactly. But I digress.
I'll be honest with you. That moment when Max was like, yeah, he's pointing at his car number, it was like, listen, you guys are going to regret every time you celebrated me now winning. And I remember when he DNF'd in Australia, and was like, this man is going to just show up in China and just rip everyone to shreds. Thanks to the weather in China, just give us a little bit of hope and hopium. But then he's like, right, let me show you how this is done. Yeah. And yeah, other than that, I would love to say thank you, Cameron, for being with us. And I hope it's not the last time we do more. And yeah, as for Miami goes, I think... all we have to wait for to look in the most exciting part of the race is Martin Brundle shenanigans with the Hollywood stars on the grid. That's pretty much what I'm waiting for.
Oh, no.
Other than that, the news about Adrian. We wait to see what the man has to say. Whatever he says is well deserved for him. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for being with us and listening. And thank you, F1 Techie, for having us.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Cheers, guys.